Okay. Recorded again. There's all working properly.
Good.
I've been out of office.
Vivian make this.
I sure did.
Goodbye. Ready? And you are. Okay. Yes. Everybody back? It is noon. We will call this meeting to order. Roll call has gone around. Hopefully everybody gets it, signs it. So entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we're at citizen comments. We have a bunch of citizens here today. Anybody want to comment? No? Shy people. That's the easy one. Next up, approval of the minutes from the previous meeting of March 28, 2024. I have reviewed them and I'll entertain a motion to enter them into the record.
I'll move that we enter the minutes as well.
The motion, second?
Second.
Okay, and second, all in favor?
Aye.
And carries. Now it's all in Paul's hand for the reports.
Okay. There should be a hard copy there for you for the April airport activity reports there. The biggest thing, of course, for April is our aviation day. And we had even though the winds were a little high and cut down on some of the small airplanes coming in, we still had a good attendance. Wind didn't affect any of the people coming to the airport themselves. We don't have a good way of doing a head count, but what we do is count cars. It's kind of what we do, count airplanes. When we switched some staff around, they lost count at 650 cars. So so that averages out to around 2,000 people thereabout still. And what's funny has been called a couple of different times asking if we were going to have it again this month.
Come on.
We were like, you're lucky you're getting it once a year. That's what it is. But we added we always try to provide a little something different each year, and having News Channel 5's Jet Ranger here was a good added thing for the kids, especially because they got to see the camera and got to get in the seat. And the guys there were really, it was nice that they even put it on their newscast that they were going to be down here and things like that. So a lot of people brought that up, but the fact that they got to see that was fun for everybody. And so same thing for charter service brought in a couple of airplanes for them to look at. And then also they had a lot of simulators set up. And of course, MTSU had a big presence here as well as like they've had in the past, and that worked out good. They even brought some guys from the maintenance side of things too. It was good to still have plenty of different things. Food vendors, as always, seem to be happy. I mean, it's always a little bit of stumbling trying to get it all set up because we do have it in conjunction with breakfast morning. So it does take a little bit because food vendors are kind of work on their own schedule, it seems like, and not necessarily ours. So, but had one completely set out of everything he had. He ran out of food. That was the guy that was, I guess it was the sandwich guy. He was the one, he was the big,
Hoagies.
massive, say it again.
Go Hoagies.
Go Hoagies. He was the big, huge trailer that was right there in front of the EA hangar. He completely ran out of food. And he was done probably an hour before the event was over. He was out of food. And some of the other food vendors, by the time it was over, were very limited as to what they had available, except for Susie Q's, because she was about an hour and a half late getting there. So she got to take advantage of everybody else running out of food, I guess. but they're all interested, all want to come back. Had a couple other little things that happened before that, that I didn't put on the handwritten part of it, but most of them probably are familiar with, we had a couple of interesting days in a row there for a little bit. We had one where we had a vehicle come off of 231 and go through our fence, two pieces of our fence, and end up in the aircraft's hangar. It happened on a Sunday afternoon, and they, I don't know that we found out exactly if he just fell asleep or he had a medical issue or what it was. He doesn't remember.
And I've apologized profusely.
As soon as you write that check.
Thank you. I need to get your injury too.
Were you trying to land?
I know these guys, it'll be all right.
But yeah, he went right through their office space. So if it had been a regular work day, they would have gone through Nick and his secretary there, or office manager, who would have gone right through both their offices. So they did go through their office. But it's so interesting is the way he hit was, I mean, he was the luckiest guy. I mean, he missed it. He bounced off a truck a little bit. So he'd been over to the left just a little bit more. He would hit that and it'd been a whole lot worse. He bounced off of a squeeze between a gas main. So he didn't knock that off. And he didn't hit a metal pole, just went through the metal sheeting. So he literally, for a person that had an accident like that, he was the luckiest guy because he missed the fence post just right. Because you've seen horror stories where people hit fence posts, and he missed those. And, I mean, it was somebody that did that much damage. He was lucky. Because our guys couldn't even tell when one of our guys pulled around on Sunday, couldn't even tell anything happened. Well, the car had disappeared into the building.
Mhm.
And you couldn't tell. And so we didn't know for at least until we just thought maybe there had been an accident at the street.
Was he injured?
He was, but I don't know what all the extent of it. I turned the police report over to our city recorder here so she could fight that fight to see if we get anything out of it. But I've had the guys go ahead and repair stuff somewhat. Arian, of course, their insurance is covering inside from the building in. Their insurance is taking care of all that stuff, but we're doing the fence. Then the following day had two aircraft incidents. We had one with a MTSU airplane that lost power and had to do a turnaround, and they were about 500 feet in the air and had to turn around and land back the other direction. That airplane sat here for a good while while they had to diagnose what the situation was. I think they ended up having a clogged filter of some kind or something like that is what they figured out after they went through a lot to try to they dogged on it for quite some time trying to figure it out. Then that same day, that same afternoon, about 12:45, I had an aircraft from Murfreesboro Aviation that porpoised down the runway and tore up a tire and ended up flipping over. That's the one that made social media pretty big and made the local news. The other one didn't, for MTSU purposes. The other one didn't make the news. Those guys were kind of happy, but they, and then we had another one of theirs a little later, a twin that had some problems, and their guys seemed to think that was probably a pilot error, not necessarily a maintenance issue. But that
Was the first airplane lost power on takeoff or
Yes.
shortly afterwards?
yeah, they were about 500 feet in
And
the air,
about 500 feet.
and he turned around and
So
landed.
he hasn't turned about the rule that you don't turn around to make the airport. Under 1,000 feet.
When did partial?
Yeah, he didn't lose everything. He was just, but when they tried to go back out and they thought maybe it was just something that needed to be cleaned out, when they started trying to put more power to it, the worse it got.
Gotcha.
So
And the guy that was focusing, was he single pilot or did he have?
he was on his first cross-country solo.
Oh, no.
Yeah, his instructor left him in Murfreesboro and he came down here to do his first one by himself at a different airport.
Wow. Yeah, the winds were a little sportier than it was forecast.
Yeah, we watched the video of it and he almost pulled it off, but then it just looked sort of kind of like it was in slow motion and it sort of tipped over and kept on going. I mean, he came out with a little small red spot on his shin. Wasn't even bleeding. He just got it rubbed on it. But he had the wherewithal to turn everything off like he was supposed to. And,
No fire.
no fire, no nothing. That EMS guys helped us out and fire department, and he just were able to just flip it right back over the direction it came and rolled it off the runway.
He did fly it home though.
No. No. No, it made its way to the scrapyard, I guess, because they had to cut the wings off and roll it off with a flatbed. Here's a seat right over here, Mayor. But yeah, it hung out with us for a little bit, and FAA came and looked at everything, and then I guess they settled with the insurance company or something like that. Somebody showed up with the proper paperwork and a flatbed and a crane and cut it apart, and hauled it off. But so it's April had some fun times with some of the different things we've had around here. You can see there some typical the fuel flowage numbers there. The operations numbers we had in April, and while we were down a couple thousand, I'm not really sure exactly. That from, that it was, as was mentioned, in, that weather forecast, I think, had times with winds and different things like that, but mainly forecast, and a lot of people having to plan on forecasts, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Continuing on, you got the different businesses that are coming through this area. Always nice to point out when the hangar jumps up like that, it's because we've got a payment from here for the property. Number look a little different. Finally got our new fuel sign put up right before Aviation Day. So there's Phillips 66 signs up down there. Some other, our old golf cart that used to be around here, the little white one that we'd gotten years ago that we've been using. We took it off to try to see if anybody could either repair it or see what the cost might be to use it as a trade-in to replace it or anything like that. But it's still sitting because they're looking for a better deal for us right now to see if there's a way to potentially use it for a trade-in or something like that, because I think it's going to cost more than it's worth to fix it up. The issue is its age, that not many people are willing to touch it. Going on down into the business, it's mentioned that we fixed the fence and the vehicle that ran through the area and aircraft. And also we did some more extra cleanup around the area and back air for Aviation Day. Here in the terminal building, we had our front window finally was replaced. It had been cracked been hit by one of our guys and ended up needing to be replaced. So it's another one of those big, large pane windows out front that got replaced. I replaced a couple of rocking chairs that had aged out of the system. The shade cells have been put back on over the picnic tables. We did that for Aviation Day as well. Added some lights along the walkway that look like a taxiway. So that's just added that for effect. And then, of course, as with everything else, our maintenance guys can always say that right now they're mowing, and then they're doing a little bit more mowing and then mowing some more. Trying to fight with the rain because everything's growing as fast and they can't stay ahead of it. Between rain's just making it grow quite well. These stray photos I put in there from Aviation Day in there. There's one gentleman on that bottom of that last page there on page 3 that he lives on the airport in Tullahoma and brought his I can't remember exactly the type of airplane that is. I know seems like it starts with an A. For some reason, I've just lost it. But that was a military executive aircraft that was used in. It's got like a bench seat in the back. It's kind of comical looking to it. The way
Heavy on.
Yeah, that's what I'll do it.
Yeah.
But that gentleman stayed with that thing the whole day and was giving everybody he gave everybody the history lesson behind. I mean, it was I think he could barely talk by the time the 4 hours was up on that event. But he stayed with it, and anybody that wanted it in. Yeah, it was great to work to hear him. And I was just coming to see if he wanted anything, and he started giving me the speech about all about this stuff. That's great. Kind of knew about it before I could hear it. I'm listening to this. It's interesting. Then also, the financials were just dropped off earlier, because that came from, Kay sent those to Lisa. So I haven't even really had a chance to look at it. But one thing I did want to point out, that because of something that, and I think I might have mentioned this before, but one number that's not in there that I do take credit on is the payment from MTSU for their lease portion of it. And the way it's set up, she doesn't have it on our system. So that number really is a positive if you look at the $300,000 check from MTSU as part of it. I'll take that credit. Even though Kay might not give it to me, I'll take it. Any questions about any of the reports in this? As always, there's always a lot more than what I can put in that report, or else you guys really would be board of tears of day-to-day type stuff.
Okay, I have any questions? Anyone else?
I'm good.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve the list of awards.
okay, we have a motion. One second.
Okay.
Motion is second. All in favor?
All right.
Passes. Next up is old business. Seeing none, we'll move to new business. First up on new business is FY 2024 Community Project Funding Request Update. Oh,
This is, I guess you could say it's an announcement. I was expecting something a bit more elaborate kind of announcement, but we never really got it. We have received from Scott Desjardins' office $6 million that have been set aside for the airport. Like I said, I found out about it a little bit ago, and I kept expecting there to be some kind of official letter, some kind of official announcement, because there was so many times the years I worked for the state, we had things were delayed because all the politicians wanted to say, hey, look what I've done for you. And we haven't got that. So I was reached out to by FAA, and they wanted to know what we were going to do with it. And I was like, well, I was kind of waiting to see for sure that we really got it besides on a piece of paper. So there is, it is considered, it is even FAA called it an earmark, but I know they don't like to call those that anymore, but it is a grant from the Department of Transportation, and it is being administered through FAA. And which in turn, because Tennessee is a block grant state, it is a grant that will be issued through the Aeronautics Division. One thing about it that compared to like other state grants and things of that nature, FAA and the federal government doesn't just give you a check and walk away. They got plenty of strings attached to it, and this one does. And so there's still a lot of issues and a lot of things, a lot of emails too. Yes, a lot of things that will be that are having to be looked through, and a lot of different processes that we've got to evaluate before we can, what all is going to be done with it, or what can be done with it, or how it's to be spent and things of that nature. So we've got a lot more that hopefully, the reason why I wanted to bring it up now to you, so you guys won't be surprised when I start coming to you, hopefully to ask and talk about different projects and things of that nature. But FAA wants to issue it as one grant, which means based on AIP guidelines, you got to have it all bids in hand and things of that nature. So there's a lot of things, a lot of different paperwork, a lot of steps that we're going to have to go through, a lot of different evaluations that are going to have to be addressed before we can bring things to you. But it is out there and it is considered FY 24 money from the federal government.
From the feds, right? Why did it come from Scott's office then? Why, are you suggesting that he was the one that distributed it to us, or how did it get to
If
come?
you'll remember, you all approved an application, MTSU came to you all
Yes,
and requested that 8.9 AIP,
okay.
community project.
Yeah,
You all
yeah,
put
yeah.
your signature on it, that went to council, the council agreed for it. Because it's being administered through the state, it had to go through the
Okay.
city. It couldn't be directly given
From the
to
feds.
MTSU. It has to go through, and it was presented to you all as a pass-through.
Understood. Thank you.
Mhm.
This money that was received from Desjardins' office is in response to that application.
That's a very good question. I kept trying to, I have asked for that type of clarification and I have yet to receive. So I mean, it says it has Desjardins' name on it, but we didn't even receive a phone call. We received nothing from Desjardins' office. It's just on a spreadsheet listed along with all the other airports around the country that have received set-asides. And it's, you might see one from Athens and it says terminal renovations, or it says ARF vehicles or something like that for Nashville or something to that effect. This one just says Bomar Field. It doesn't say at all what it's for, doesn't say, has very little description on it whatsoever. So that's when it's been kind of been waiting for more clarification and really not really receiving it. It's pretty gray.
That makes a big difference, doesn't it? If it's in response to something we requested for MTSU, then that's not really money that you can use for other projects. If it's not in response to that, then that's your money you get to put into whatever your capital projects are on your.
Well, I
plan.
think that's some of the stuff that we're still trying to figure out. And that's, like I said, that there's so many strings attached to federal money, and especially with the way it came, it didn't come directly from Desjardins' office or from his checkbook, whatever the scenario might be. It came through transportation and it came through being administered with FAA. So it comes with the typical strings that Lisa alluded to, that she sees emails wise associated with all the different federal grants. The only thing about it that is different compared to other money is it doesn't require justification. Meaning that it has to meet AIP eligibility, but it does not have to be justified. So, I mean, if we wanted to, we could do a runway extension with it. Just because it doesn't have to have the justification of having to have certain number of airplanes.
Wow.
Whose name is on the check?
It is coming.
We don't have anything. I mean, that's the thing. We don't have any documents.
We don't
We have nothing to look at yet. This is sort of premature, just letting you all know there's a line item that says that we've got money.
I saw that movie though.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's been very, very confusing, which I think it could be because maybe I'm just an assumption on my part that Desjardins' office does not do that. They don't usually do that. So I don't think they're not used to that any type of presentation or saying, here, you got it. And this is what I've done for you. And none of that comes out because he just doesn't do them. This is, I think, his first one. So, yeah, but I hope to be bringing more information back to you quickly.
Yeah. Hope you.
But, yeah, we're still going to go through all the process and make sure and trust me, we've got two different entities, multiple entities looking at us to make sure it's all spent correctly and done properly. So we'll be.
I imagine there'll be a lot of hands grabbing at it.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Okay. Very interesting. Nothing to vote on there.
No, that's why it's just marked as an update, just so that you're aware, so you know it's out there, because it will come up and it's out. Like I said, it's on a spreadsheet. It's listed along with all the other airports in the United States that receive some kind of special set aside from the federal government. We're listed out there. As a matter of fact, that's how somebody asked me about it before I even knew about it. They just saw it on a spreadsheet.
Okay. Any other questions about that before we move on? No? Okay. Second on the new business list is hangar construction update.
I'm gonna update on a couple of them, and then I'm gonna allow the guys that are representing number 3 to sort of update a little bit more on their buildings. Right now, we still have 4 hangars under construction. We have, the two that are to the south. I'm sorry, to the north. The southern ones are, I'm gonna let Mike and Tanner talk about those guys. But the, ones to the north, they have gone through, and have been, gotten their permits. They've gotten their, first inspection. Couple of items in the inspection that didn't pass, through codes that they're having to go back and correct and fix. So Brian is very aware, our codes director is keeping an eye on them and working with them. Spacing and things of that nature have all been approved and all that's taken care of. Some people, I think, had some concerns that they were a little too close, but that's all been addressed. And so which has actually worked to their benefit after going through the codes department, and working with them on that, because there's going to be less infrastructure needed on the Azure end, which is the one that's most westerly, hangar. They were going to have to build some ramp space, but now they're not going to have to build that much. They are going to do some drainage work over there, but they're not having to do some of the ramp work that they thought they were going to have to, because of the fact that they were able to bring it closer, bring it more to the east to allow for on the space. Still don't see this building being done until probably the end of summer. If we have run into some of the same delays that Mike's run into, we'll probably end up being fall or maybe even later than that. They've had more success than Dr. George has had, but they're still running into a delay for Duck River. So I'm hoping there's a gentleman at this table might be able to have some influence on that after Mike and Tanner give a talk about what they've experienced. But we have, with the other two hangars, they have their taxiway done, their site prep's done. It's just their ramp, they've got to wait on the ramp because they've got to raise the doors to be able to finish the ramp for concrete. And that's being limited on because we don't have electricity there yet. We have we've got working on how to process through. We're providing the stone for the road that was put in, and we were looking to provide the stone for the taxiway, but we've got to figure out how that's going to all coordinate out, because we're providing assistance with the taxiway portion. We're splitting the cost on the taxiway, not the ramp, but the taxiway, to get to that ramp for infrastructure purposes. So we're still working through all that process. Trying to think if there's any other updates on that. That's all I've got right now. We have in this process also worked through planning office and codes department on different specialized checklists and things of that nature to try to help speed up our process for any more future hangars and things like that too. So every time they build something and they run into things, the process is getting smoothed out a little bit more and a little bit more. So hopefully by the time we can build our own hangar, we'll go through pretty quick. Then the rest of that update on those hangars, I'll leave for item number 3.
Okay, so any questions on item number 2? No. Okay, we'll go to item number 3, Deweese and Quigley ground leases.
Okay. I have asked, Tanner's representing him, but I've asked them to come in because, if you recall, we did a short-term lease for construction. Well, their construction's about done. And so by the time it goes through our office and then goes to the council, there's a good chance that they're hoping that they'll be ready to start moving in. So it's time to switch this over to a full-term lease, to do the full 30-year lease. So that's why you have a sample lease that's there. That is the last one. And of course, we can adjust anything that needs to be adjusted on that lease. If you guys see anything that needs to be adjusted, based on the current square footage price is 35 cents a square foot, which has them come out to $2,520 per year for their land lease. And there is a little bit of extra that they've done, some $2,520 on an annual basis. There's a little bit of ground that they went ahead and connected their two reps together. I don't see any reason why that we would need to get into that, because all that we require is the 60 by 60 ramp and the 60 by 60 footprint. Just the fact that for their convenience, and it looks good to have it all under one, and it makes sense to put it all together. I didn't see a reason to nickel and dime that 30 by 60 whatever section of ground and have them split it up or whatever for adding to the rent. But that's the main reason why they're here. I don't know if Mike would like to update the board on some of the fun times he's had with building his hangar and where his status is.
To get a permit took 7 months. And every last time, they were gonna fail it again and put it off another month, like, because Mr. Wally printed the application wrong. He printed it front and back. There's 2 pages, and it makes wait another one. Needless to say, I got a little concerned. It's just every time they say everything's fine when you're sitting in front of the board and then you get an email, it's another email, another. I'm a contractor in Murfreesboro, so I deal with codes, planning, everything I do. If it wasn't for Scott Collins, he kind of, I think, really kind of helped me with this last little problem. And simply, I don't know what it was, to be honest with you, because the person that denied it with the incorrectly printed application is the one that printed and handed it to me. So we came here, filled it out. I literally drove right back and handed it in. They were going to kick it out another month. Short of that, the only really problem we've had has been with Duck River. Paul was there when I met their foreman. We went out there. Foreman basically, in these words, said, "Look, you're under construction. Just be sure cars don't park in these spots, or we're going to come in here as soon as you pay the deposit, have the poles put in. We're going to come put these poles. Don't let anyone park here." So we told all these construction guys, park here, and we left it open. That was 6.5 weeks ago. The deposit and the payment of the poles, he told me the amount on Friday. I had it paid at 8 o'clock Monday morning. That was 6 weeks ago. I've called, they quit returning our calls. They put one pole up between the hangers. Our electrician cannot do anything until that particular pole is, because we're running underground power at our expense, to really free things up for the airport. We're running that underground where we can actually start doing that to get, our panels built on the inside to try to get, permanent power to finish the hangars. I don't know why they came all the way out here and stuck one pole in the ground, because they have to put 3 in. And one of those is to benefit MTSU, because their portals are going on the other side of our hangars, and we've already paid to have it put in also to go. I don't know what the holdup is, but my indication from their foreman, Trip Wobble, that don't park cars here, because as soon as you pay, we're gonna run right out here and put them in. And when I called him 2 weeks after that date, I basically got, "You're in line and we're 3 weeks out." And I said, "Well, great. I've already done it 2 weeks. Another week you should be in." That was 3 weeks ago. He quit returning my calls. I don't understand. What we're doing over here essentially is benefiting Shelbyville, period. At the end result, and there's a lot of young people in here, but there are a lot of people in here my age that I'm going to be long gone, and they're going to have 2 free hangars over here, by the time this all said and done. I know for a fact there's 4 planes that are going to buy fuel from this airport. We all like it here, and we have really done everything to bend over backwards to make it beneficial for all of us. And we're just getting, a little bit of pushback. And like I said, we can see the finish line now. I mean, if we could just get power out there, we would probably be done in, 46 weeks, but like I said, just from the time we put in the application, 7 months, and literally one of us was there every meeting that was there, and they would agree to everything. Everything looks great. And then within 24 to 48 hours, we'd get an email with corrections. And as soon as you get these corrected, we're going to put you on the next agenda, which was another month later. So it was 7 of those. And finally The upcoming eighth one was when it was kind of like, wait a minute, you know, we gotta find another way to do this. And, not faulting anyone there because everyone, the codes official, Brian, he's been great. I mean, in all reality, you know, he's just trying to do what's right by the code for safety, and we all understand that. Try to comply with everything he's done. Tim's not only a Delta pilot, he's actually a builder that I've done work for years. You know, my company's an air conditioning company in Murfreesboro. We're 27 years old. I've just never run into anything like this, you know, pushback like it is. And now with Duck River, not like I can twist an arm because I don't have the ability, and certainly I can't fire them and go to someone else because
Is it any particular department, or you know where the log jam is?
my understanding, I didn't have any idea there was even gonna be a log jam because my understanding, and Paul was there. I mean, he heard he gave me his number, wrote down, hey, no problem. We're gonna get him in, and he literally made it sound within a few days. Once we
Yeah,
paid for
they put the stakes out. They put the stakes out that
They
day.
marked it that day.
Yeah.
I literally passed, on one call, and I showed him, look, going right through here, here's your stakes. The guy walked out there and made sure there was no utilities they were gonna hit. I fully expected within a few days to have poles up. If we got poles 6 weeks ago, the ramp in front of, we stopped from the taxiway to the hangar, that ramp would be finished. There would be power on, and I would say we would be within just a few days, if not a week or two, of moving into the hangar.
Mr. Mayor, do you have any suggestions as to whom he should go to?
Well, that's the first I've heard of it. I don't, but you let me know who they talk to and give me the numbers on this job permit. I'll make a call. I don't know if that'll help, but I'll try my best. Okay, they've had a change of leadership out there. Scott Spence left and went to Texas, who was the CEO. And then a young man that I worked with has taken over right now as interim. So maybe we get some, and I know Trip too. So we'll try to talk to them and see. I don't know if I can do you any good. Hopefully I won't do you any bad.
Generally, if somebody in your position says something, draw attention to the problem, it gets taken care of.
I didn't know it was happening. I really, yeah.
Well,
I'll try to help.
everything
any way I
seemed to
can.
be going fine, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. And I know that some other projects have been applied for and completed in that timeframe. So I'm not sure what the situation is. They haven't returned my call either.
Okay. I'll get that info from you after the meeting.
And just on one other note, I could talk to Paul afterwards. I don't know if you want to talk about this now, whatever, but, the amount that you just mentioned, I did the math on it, and that's a little higher than what we agreed to when we started the hangar.
35 cents a square foot.
Yeah, I think the amount we agreed to came to $2,200 a year.
And you got that in writing somewhere?
I don't even have the construction lease in writing.
I mean, it'd be easy enough to look at the
We could just
meeting.
look at that because I believe that the amount we came up with was right at $2,200.
Okay, we'll look at that. 'Cause
Thank you. Sorry you have a problem. I don't get a check from Duck River anymore. Yes, I do.
Any other questions regarding the Deweese and Quigley ground leases?
So it sounds like we'll need to confirm with the minutes so that might be something that we might need to push then instead of going ahead and
Right.
approving those leases if the dollar amount's not correct.
Can we, so that he doesn't have to wait another month, because can we approve them subject to
I'm good with that.
legal?
If they're good with that.
I'm good for that.
Okay.
I don't want to push anything.
Yeah, right. I feel your pain there. If we could approve these leases, I would entertain a motion to approve these leases subject to an adjustment in the rent based on what the meetings reveal, what the meeting minutes reveal. Anybody want to make that motion?
Oh, that we approve the request and this lease, subject to any changes that come forth that were already agreed upon, to be written in, yes.
Yeah, received the motion. Do I hear a second? We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. So your lease should not have to come back in front of us.
Right, but it will still need to go before, once we get it settled, we'll need to be on the
Right,
agenda
on the-
for city council.
Can't help you with that one. That is all I see on new business. Other business and announcements, there's nothing there. Does any member have an announcement or
One announcement I do know that the breakfast for Saturday
That's right.
it's been canceled,
That's
so
right.
there's
No
no EA
breakfast.
breakfast this Saturday. They had scheduling conflicts with members and
Thank
then weather,
Thank you.
so weather concerns, I think, as well.
Okay.
Trying, as far as I know, everything should be back on for the following.
Great. Well, my favorite part of the meeting. Hearing no other business, call this meeting adjourned. Everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you.
Well done. How you doing?
Good, good, brother. How you?
Vacation for me starts right.
Is that right?
No, it's not. Good.
Where are you going?
We're gonna just
Eric,
head out to
Eric,
Big South Fork.
yeah.
Hopefully get some dry weather a little bit
Little bit.
here and there.
We've got two or three events that may have to
Where?
be at. And then I'm gonna see if I can hit the road there for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Been thinking about going to Gunnersville Lake. Have you ever been there?
Oh, I've heard of Gunnersville Lake.
You like it?
It's supposed to be beautiful. My mom's neighbors have a place out there.
Yeah.
We put a boat in there
There
and,
you are.
Oh, really?
and sold it to the Gulf Coast.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
So you can walk in this.
Yeah, I have never been there. Of course, I've heard of it. And I had a brother-in-law that fished there all the time, but I had a lady I talked to the other day and she said, let's go to Gunnersville Lake. I said, I'm sorry. Did a little